Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on our social media feeds, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Appreciate you guys being here as you are every Tuesday that we are live. As you can see, I've got one person here in the show with me tonight, the one and only Earl Nieto. Earl, before we hop into tonight's show, and of course, it is going to be a special episode, as you guys see the title over below, wherever it may be. This is, of course, going to be our Rumblecast. Jacob is not here this evening, so just Earl and myself. And so we're going to be talking some Royal Rumble this weekend, as it is the road to WrestleMania. Earl, I do have one burning question for you. How about them Cowboys?
So, I don't know where to start. I don't.
How about we start with Brett Maher? How about we start there?
Like I said, I don't even know where to start. I mean, everyone knows I am a Cowboys fan. I went to a Cowboys game this past Thanksgiving. And it was fun. I went to that. The rest of the season has not been fun. Especially 2 weeks ago, watching Brett Maher set an NFL record on mixed extra points. And then this past game on Sunday was extra brutal because it's a playoff game, obviously, against the 49ers. And this new family that I'm intertwined with is all 49er fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at their house. So it was a little interesting. But yeah, so if we can not talk about the Cowboys and not allow me to pull the band-aids off the scabs that are finally healing up. It just sucks though, because I still have to figure out a day that I have to wear a 49ers jersey, which I'm thinking is gonna be Sunday.
You have to wear a 49ers jersey.
I lost a bet.
Okay. I can't. We need to see this. This needs to be on social media. We got to put it out there. Can't wait to see that happen.
Oh, I can. I'm not looking forward to
it. I can only imagine. So yeah, obviously, we won't get too much into it. None of our teams are still in the playoffs anymore. I am, however, looking forward to the championship games. I don't know about you. They're good. They're going to be some good matchups. 49ers, Eagles, and then you got the Chiefs and the Bengals over in the AFC. So some really good championship games coming up.
So I'm going for the. My shirt has a bunch of holes. Okay. I'm going for the Bengals.
Okay.
And really, I'm okay with either the Chiefs or the Bengals. I'm okay with either one of those two. No preference on it. I am, on the other hand, praying for a meteor or the end of the world or anything of that nature to happen in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
To avoid that game.
All right. Yeah, it's
And David, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. I'm a Cowboys fan. I cannot go for the Eagles because they're in my conference or division.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously with the long rivalry between the 49ers, I can't go for them. Which I'll probably secretly be rooting for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
All right. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think I like the Niners over the Eagles, and I like the Chiefs over the Bengals. But that AFC game is going to be really interesting to see what happens there. You mentioned David Carl. Obviously, he is from Philadelphia, big Eagles fan. So I know he's excited. He's looking forward to the games this coming weekend. So, let's just jump right into it, Earl. We haven't really talked wrestling here in a minute. It is, of course, a Royal Rumble week, and a lot of things going on right now in WWE, a lot of storylines leading into it. Obviously, Vince McMahon back with the WWE. Stephanie McMahon has stepped down as co-CEO, whatever position she was in. She stepped down. We got some storylines in and out of the ring going on. Obviously, the bloodline is coming to an end this weekend. Obviously, after Jey Uso stood up for Sami Zayn last night. We got to talk about this. Raw is War 30th anniversary. last night. A lot of people showed up. Taker came back.
It was a really good it was really well put together. I definitely enjoyed it. There's been a couple episodes recently I'm just like, this isn't happening. I turn it off.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jacob, for your DirecTV, by the way, because that helps out. But last night's episode was super on point. Seeing all the faces being coming back, like Ron Simmons. I'll always be a Ron Simmons fan. The Taker Bray Wyatt interaction was interesting.
That's really interesting. I want to see what happens with that.
I feel like they're gonna set something up to where Taker comes back for one more match. I hope not, because I'm a firm believer of once you retire, you retire. The whole Shawn Michaels thing where you retire and you're done. So I feel like they're gonna set something up there. Then the ending, Brock Lesnar coming back and squashing both Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley. But really, my favorite part, and everyone knows I'm a huge Roman Reigns fan, was the trial of Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
It was interesting because I did not expect it. That's definitely not what I expected. I expected Sami Zayn to get booted and they continue on with it. I do know that there was supposed to be another plan, which was advertised for that segment, where it was supposed to be the bloodline recognition or tribal chief recognition, whatever, where all the Samoan dynasty comes in and they recognize Roman Reigns as the tribal chief. But a certain famous movie star or Disney star who happens to sing You're Welcome couldn't make it for whatever reason. He's probably busy making a movie somewhere, and kind of put a damper on the entire plan that they had going on. So if you're hoping for Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania, it's probably not going to happen. Just because The Rock is The Rock and does what he wants. So I don't know what the plan is going forward. I don't know if they're going to try to push The Rock to do something or what, but it's about to get interesting with it. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hype, a lot of rumor about The Rock showing up either Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, somewhere along those lines. Obviously, other rumors have been flying around as well. John Cena has recently made a return to WWE, at least short term anyway. I know there are rumors about him possibly taking one of the belts. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to this weekend and in the coming months between the premium live events. Cody Rhodes is returning this weekend as well. It's just, there's so many different ways to look at this. It's just, I watching, like I said, watching all those returns. Kurt Angle came back, DX, basically the full DX except for Billy Gunn was there. It was an interesting night on WWE 30. So
yeah, and as long as Billy Gunn is over in AEW, they will not acknowledge him.
Yeah.
And you saw that yesterday where they cut his part off and let the audience say it.
Yeah.
But they won't say it.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting to have Angle out there. Like, I always want to be part of DX, Mr. Straight Edge, Kurt Angle, But I actually saw a lot of pushback on DX reforming once again, saying it's tired, it's old. Like, do you think, obviously you've already said, once you retire, you retire, but do you think there's something to bringing back groups like DX, especially on a big night like Raw 30?
It's a big money push, is what it is. It's a big ticket sell because everyone grew up with DX. There's a podcast I recently listened to. Thank you, Jacob, for the recommendation. Also, to where it was the DX invasion of WCW.
Yes.
That was probably my favorite Monday Night War memory, is DX at the door of WCW trying to get in, knocking on the gate, on the roller gate, hoping to get in. So yeah, DX has always been one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I will forever be a DX fan. So I will not complain if DX.
Sorry, I'm trying. There's a TikTok. I'm trying to. There's a TikTok account I want to send you that I think you'll really like.
Okay. So I like I said, I will never get tired of the DX spiel, especially when they come in on big nights like Raw 30. I was there for Raw 25 5 years ago. Was it five? It was 5 years ago. Raw 25 I was there for in New York, where they had DX come in, the Click, and that whole fiasco going on there, the curtain call, all that stuff. So yeah, so DX is one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah.
So no, I will never get tired of having a DX reunion, especially when they come in and just have fun.
Yeah, it's always it's different. It's definitely interesting to see Triple H get back into the DX here for the first time in several years. And then obviously Shawn Michaels coming back and all that. There's a lot of familiar faces, a lot of Attitude Era faces that came back, which I thought was fantastic to see. I certainly didn't expect Taker to show back up. After his recent retirement. But so I want to ask you about this. And he obviously had some words for Bray Wyatt. Now, I don't know much about LA Knight. Tell me, talk to us a little bit about this match coming up on Saturday evening, Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight. What is the draw here? What exactly is the thing behind this pitch black match?
The draw is it's a gimmick. It's one of Bray Wyatt's gimmicks where everyone knows Bray. And don't get me wrong, Bray Wyatt is gold.
Mm-hmm.
Anything he does is phenomenal. I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know much about this pitch black match. From my understanding, is kind of the lights go out or the lights are dimmed to a different color and they're going at it. I'm also a huge LA Knight fan.
Okay.
And if you're watching with us, I did the LA Knight spiel where he points the 3 times. So let me holler at you. But yeah, so both of those together, it's gonna be a great match. I love it. They're both huge draws. LA Knight was a huge draw in NXT, and then I was a little bugged when they moved him to Max Dupree when he became Maximum Male Model Coordinator, whatever the hell he was. But LA Knight as LA Knight is great, and just the feud with Bray Wyatt will make it better. I want to say, and this is just me looking through the glass, that this is probably LA Knight's push and test to see if he can be main event quality, and someone that can maybe gun for Cody Rhodes when he wins the title, because we all know Cody Rhodes is winning the title at WrestleMania.
Okay. Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't know much about LA Knight at all. It looks like he was previously part of Impact Wrestling as Eli Drake.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm not familiar with this guy at all. And so to see the kind of push that he's been getting here the last couple of weeks or so, it feels like it's been real sudden. But if he was big in NXT, I mean, maybe this is a chance, but is this, because it also be like, at least from what I've seen, Bray Wyatt really hasn't done much since his return either. So, like, I don't understand. Like, there's this whole big deal about Bray Wyatt coming back, but he hasn't been a part of anything.
It's the Bray Wyatt name. I mean, you look at it the past, 3 years, where we had Bray Wyatt. We had Firefly Funhouse, which is one of my favorite things right now. Then we had the feud with Randy Orton, and then we had the Fiend, and then we had Alexa Bliss come in and take care of and carry on that feud, and then we had the Fiend go away, and then we had Bray Wyatt come in, and then we had Bray Wyatt get fired, and then we had the hype of Bray Wyatt because no one knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
he was posting on Twitter, Wyatt6. He changed his Twitter handle. Then he changed it back to Bray Wyatt. Then he'd copyright his name. Then he rescinded the copyright. And no one knew exactly. Well, we knew what he was doing, but we didn't know why he was doing it. So just the name of Bray Wyatt draws. I mean, there's names right now in WWE that draw. Bray Wyatt being one of those. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. Those are the big three that Seth Rollins. Those are the four that are carrying the company right now that are going to draw names. So if you can bring an under talent like LA Knight or LA Knight is really the big one right now because he's the one that no one expected. You could bring him in and boost him up with a Bray Wyatt logo or Bray Wyatt name and get him some kind of credibility to be able to contend for something. Why not? And then now you have Alexa Bliss kind of coming back into the mix, kind of coming back into the fold. You have the whole Who is Uncle Howdy? And just the storytelling that they're doing there is perfect.
Yeah, definitely some opportunities opening up for some other folks. And you just mentioned Alexa Bliss. Well, great segue there. We'll jump right into the women's Raw Women's Championship match, Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss. Maybe it's just me, but did this opportunity for Alexa Bliss come out of seemingly nowhere, or has this been building up to it? Because with the return of Bray Wyatt, you've kind of seen like little hints here and there that they might be doing some sort of collaboration again, but nothing's really come of that. So like, what has Alexa Bliss done to earn this shot at Bianca at Royal Rumble?
I don't think it's the fact of what she's done. It's who else is there? There's nobody. Because Bianca Belair's been through Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch turned face. So now you can't put a face with a face or baby with a baby because that doesn't mix. You have to have a bad guy. Then you had Bianca versus Bayley. I mean, that got old after a while. There's no one else that they can go through without.
And Ronda Rousey is suspended.
Yeah, Ronda Rousey, she's off making movies and doing her thing.
Yeah.
So she's suspended or indefinitely on leave, whatever the hell you want to say about it.
Yeah.
And really, I'm happy about it. I am not a huge Ronda Rousey fan. She doesn't have talent. She doesn't have, MMA, yeah. If you're standing up and knocking someone out, cool. But in WWE, that's a different ballgame. You're not knocking somebody out. You are performing is what you're doing. And she doesn't have the skills to perform. She has 3 moves, and then that's it.
No.
But there's really no one viable on Raw that can come in and knock Bianca off. So, who else is there? Alexa Bliss, the one that hasn't really had a title shot in a while. Let's give loyalty where it's due. The other one that could come in and make a name for herself is Candice LeRae, who recently returned. She was in NXT. She left to go have a baby and came back. She's the real wife of Johnny Wrestling. So that's the only other name I can see. And I don't think that Candice LeRae is in any ballpark with Bianca Belair.
So I like Alexa Bliss. I think she's a fantastic performer. I think she's got a lot of talent. I think she's had some really good storylines in the past. Like, is this a legitimate? Like, do you think this is a serious championship push for her?
Yes.
Or is this something Bianca's just gonna? It's already predetermined that Bianca's gonna keep it.
No. So this is the one where you don't know. This is pretty much the one match that you don't know. Besides the Royal Rumble, because you kind of know who's gonna win, but you kind of don't because there's always a surprise. But of the title matches happening that night, this is the one that you don't know. Now, Harry, I'm ignoring you, by the way.
Well, you shout him out. You're not ignoring him.
No, I'm ignoring him. I'm acknowledging his presence, but I'm ignoring his comment.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said though, like this is the one match that you're not 100% certain on because Alexa Bliss deserves the push. Mm-hmm. She deserves the title. But then there's Bianca Belair, who's like carrying the company, the women's division at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't have the personality. You don't have Charlotte Flair. You don't have Sasha Banks. Obviously, isn't with the company anymore. You've got some. There's really
Well,
aren't
Charlotte Flair returned, but she's on SmackDown.
right. I mean, I guess I don't see why they couldn't throw her over on Raw for whatever reason. Like throw her in there because I mean Roman goes back and forth between different shows, so I mean, why not? But yeah, I think that's gonna be an interesting match to watch and see what happens between Bianca and Alexa Bliss. I mean, does Bray Wyatt get involved in that? Does funky stuff happen, or is it just a straight match? Like I know there was a cage match the other night, right?
Yeah,
and Bailey was involved in that, and who knows?
So, Harry, for your comment on why they gave Charlotte Flair the belt, is because someone viable had to knock off Ronda Rousey because she has to go make a movie, or a TV show or some shit. Whatever the case is, she's out of commission for a while, so someone viable had to do it. So Charlotte Flair was the big name because Triple H's creative push right now is really good. So bringing back Charlotte Flair to take that spot, it made sense. That, and I have a feeling they're pushing Charlotte Flair to beat her dad's record of 16.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting if they did that. Let's stick with the women for just a little bit. Obviously Royal Rumble has evolved for the past several years. There's no longer just a 30-man Royal Rumble. There is both a 30-man and a 30-woman Royal Rumble. Looking at, and maybe, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like in the past we've kind of more or less known the majority of the roster entries for the Royal Rumble. Looking at the women's side of things, according to the Wikipedia for the event, there's only about a half dozen, maybe 7 announced entrants into the women's Royal Rumble. Liv Morgan, Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez, no idea who that is, Shayna Baszler, Zelina Vega, and Emma. Now, obviously, in years past, there has always been at least one surprise entrant. And I'm not as familiar with the women's Royal Rumble. I'll just throw that out there. But who do you think that there is in the women's stable that could possibly make a surprise return here?
There's one big name. Sasha Banks.
Okay. Interesting.
So Sasha Banks. Hang on real quick. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
yeah, Sasha Banks is the big name to come back. But Harry, you hit it on the nail. I want to say it's gonna be Rhea Ripley's to win it.
Okay.
I mean, the push that she has going on right now with the Judgment Day and just the action that she's been getting, I want to say it's Rhea Ripley's to win. But so it's hers to win right now, unless Sasha Banks returns. If Sasha Banks comes back, it's going to be Sasha Banks winning it. I guarantee it. There's no way in hell do you not cater to what Sasha Banks wants at this point. She walked out because she didn't like what was going on. If you're going to spend the money to bring her back and put her in the Royal Rumble as a surprise entrant, she better be winning the damn thing. Otherwise, you wait until WrestleMania night and have her surprise WrestleMania night or night after WrestleMania.
So now again, I haven't been paying too much into. Is she officially back in WWE, or is it something that is possibly kept under? Okay,
it's gonna be something that's kept under wraps. If she does come back, which I want to say she will, it's kept under wraps. That is going to be the biggest return. Second biggest return of the year.
Any chance we see a former women's superstar return? Say Lita or someone along those lines.
Yeah. You'll see Lita, you'll see Trish Stratus. You'll
Really? You think
see.
Trish Stratus of all people is going to make a return?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
for a one-off thing, yeah. Um,
What about Mae Young?
I hope not.
Okay. I mean, she's probably, I don't even know if she's still alive at this
I
point.
want to say
But,
she's dead.
okay.
I do. And Harry, to touch on that, I mean, that's the thing. Is yeah, everybody wants her right now.
Oh, she did pass away 2014.
I thought she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody wants Sasha Banks right now, and that's why WWE needs to open up that checkbook and just let Sasha Banks write it. How much do you want? Here you go. Here's my checkbook. Write it. It's yours. What else do you want? Pretty much give her everything she wants, and she's not going to go to AEW. She's not going to go to TNA or Impact, whatever the hell they're called these days. She's not going to go to New Japan. She's going to go to WWE because that's where she's going to get the most money. And in reality, that's the truth. That's where Sasha Banks or any superstar is going to make the most money, is in the big line. In the big league is what it is WWE.
So Sasha Banks obviously left when Vince was still in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's back, like, do you really think that they're going to be able to lure her back in, or because of the creative direction of Triple H, or do you think that she's going to stay a free agent because of Vince?
I mean, Vince just came back to sell the company.
Yeah,
that's the only reason he came back. Triple H is still in charge of creative, so I want to say that she will come back because Triple H is still in charge of creative, and he is always taking care of NXT talent. I mean, look at Seth Rollins. Look at Riddle. I mean, yeah, he's suspended because of his cocaine use, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you look at NXT stars, Johnny Wrestling was getting a huge push. Dexter Lumis had a huge storyline with The Miz. I mean, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is the biggest name in NXT history, and look where he's at, competing with Roman Reigns. And then the next biggest name, Sami Zayn. He's literally tied with Roman Reigns. So, I mean, all the superstars from NXT are getting their push. So, that's why I expect Sasha Banks to come back.
All right. I mean, yeah, it's entirely possible. It'd be interesting to see what happens with that. Interesting to see who wins that title shot at WrestleMania and the Women's Royal Rumble. And moving over to the men's side of things. 1 second, hang on. Okay. I thought I was going to sneeze again. We obviously talked about Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. Men's Royal Rumble match. We have a little over a dozen announced entrants so far. Kofi Kingston, Santos Escobar, Ricochet, Austin Theory, Seth freaking Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin, Rey Mysterio Jr., Gunther, Cody Rhodes, Omos, I should say, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, Karrion Kross, all announced so far. Cody Rhodes is the most recent announced, I believe. Or one of the more recent ones. And that's obviously kind of a surprise to coming back from the torn pec. So interesting to see him back. It'll be interesting to see where he actually enters the Royal Rumble. We mentioned earlier, a lot of rumors about who potentially could be coming back, being involved. Who do you see potentially making a surprise entrance and being a factor in the outcome of the Rumble?
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, okay.
Which I know he's injured, supposedly.
Yeah.
But Randy Orton. I also see Riddle making his return. He was hit with a suspension because of performance enhancing or wellness policy. But I do see Riddle coming back and making some kind of impact. I wouldn't be surprised to see John Cena.
Okay.
Especially if he has movies lined up for the rest of the year. And in order to avoid what happened last year, where he's fighting on the last Friday of the year, I expect to see John Cena so I can get the 21 years in a row and get that out of the way right away. I would not be surprised if some AEW talent showed up. AEW talent such as Adam Cole, baby. People might call me crazy, but I would expect to see CM Punk.
Really? I mean, that would be a bit of a shock to see Punk come back.
And that's the glory of the Royal Rumble. You never know who you're gonna see.
Gilbert.
You'll probably see a Gilbert. You'll probably see Goldberg or Oldberg or whatever the hell. But that's the glory of the Royal Rumble is you never know.
Yeah.
But Harry, I 100% agree with you. It's gonna be Cody's to win. The only way that he doesn't win is if Seth Rollins screws him over and they continue that feud, which I'm hoping they don't. I'm hoping the rubber match in the Hell in the Cell with Cody's torn pec, I'm hoping that was the end of it. But I do see them trying to continue it because that was money. Here, monster. But yeah, so I do expect to see either Cody winning it or Cody getting screwed over by Seth Rollins and then someone else winning it. But who knows?
Well, obviously, I think you mentioned Cody was obviously getting the push before his injury. And obviously that's going to be a big point of contention for Triple H and WWE Creative, giving Cody Rhodes that push because obviously that's why he came back. Mark Briscoe as a surprise injury. Thoughts on that real quick?
I don't know who the fuck Mark Briscoe is. So you give me 12 seconds and I will figure out who Mark Briscoe is.
Okay. You tell us who Mark Briscoe is because that's not a name I'm not familiar with.
I'm not familiar with that name at all. So Harry, thanks for educating us today.
While Earl is looking that up, I mean, the Royal Rumble's has got a tremendous history. A ton of guys have gone on and had their careers launched off of Royal Rumble. Guys who've gotten giant pushes from that. So it'll be interesting to see. We've seen like gigantic returns. I think Edge return was it last year or year before Edge made his
year before.
Okay, yeah. Edge obviously with a massive return after nearly a decade away. I know other guys have said that they're done. Austin is Jay Briscoe's tag team partner.
Okay, yeah, that's who I found out.
Okay.
That's not a bad nod. I don't expect to see him. Yeah, that's all I was just reading. That's pretty crazy. I expect to see, I mean, like I said, Adam Cole. I would expect to see maybe John Moxley.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's his freaking name? Danhausen? The one that tags with Sting? Is it Danhausen? No, not Danhausen. Give me a minute.
Okay.
If my phone decides to fucking work.
I don't know what Sting is up to these days. I have no idea.
Darby Allin.
Okay.
I would love to see Darby Allin make a surprise in.
Okay.
If you don't know who Darby Allin is, he's Orange Cassidy. He's a good nod. You're close. I mean, IE versus Y, pretty freaking close. I'll take it. I know who you're talking about, though. He's the guy that stands there and stuffs his hands in his pockets and then does his stupid nodding thing. But no, I would love to see Darby Allin. Darby Allin is my favorite AEW star,
Okay.
and he always has been. So yeah, he would be my push to make a surprise. I wouldn't expect him to win it, obviously, but seeing him break that forbidden door, I would love to see him be the first one. That way they could break that forbidden door and get something going.
What about Mayor Kane?
We won't see Mayor Kane. I wouldn't be surprised to see Demon Kane.
Okay.
But we won't see Mayor Kane, that's for sure.
Do you think the Usos are involved in the Royal Rumble?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a potential lead into the breakup of the bloodline at WrestleMania?
It could
or
be.
do they fall apart tomorrow? Or this weekend, I should say.
It all depends on what Sami Zayn's test is. If Sami Zayn's test is to eliminate himself and he doesn't, then the Usos will come in and take care of it. Essentially spelling the end of Sami Zayn in the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
But if he does it, then yeah, they're going to draw this sumbitch out all the way to WrestleMania.
Well, I mean, obviously the matchup and so I mean, this is a great segue into the main event. Well, I guess the co-main event of the Royal Rumble this weekend. Kevin Owens against Roman Reigns for the undisputed title, yes, or the Universal title, I should say, WWE Universal title. Obviously, they're going to attempt to split the belts. There's a rumor that maybe Kevin Owens signed Sami Zayn's name to the contract. Do you think there's any truth to that? And do you think that they actually move the belt to Kevin this weekend?
No.
Okay.
No, Roman's going to hold the belts until WrestleMania. And then that's when it's going to come into play there where he wrestles on both nights. I fully expect to see Roman wrestling on Saturday night and Sunday night. Whether Saturday night is for the Raw belt and the Sunday night's for the SmackDown belt, but it might be the opposite way around where SmackDown's first and Raw. But regardless, I fully expect to see him lose one of the belts either Saturday or Sunday night.
Sorry, it's at WrestleMania, yes?
Yeah, WrestleMania.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Because I was like, wait a second. It didn't quite click for just a second. But yeah, I mean, obviously, because, Roman has a brand new contract. What the contract entails, no one really knows. Is he going to be going off and doing other things? Is he remaining part-time? Because, I mean, I think it's a good business decision for WWE to split those titles. That way you have them both being contested, throughout the year instead of one person holding both of them. I mean, that's just what I think. But I mean, I don't know. Do you think maybe there's some sort of a triple threat happens? Do you
and that might be what happens to make Roman not look weak.
Then
that might be what happens is a triple threat or a fatal 4-way to where he loses the title, but he doesn't lose the match.
Yeah.
It's not him that gets pinned, it's someone else.
Yeah.
Which that might be what happens. Yeah, Harry, I agree with you. I'm just trying to think. That might be what happens is maybe they insert Sami Zayn. Maybe they keep the Kevin Owens feud going until WrestleMania on the SmackDown side, and then they insert Sami Zayn into the picture, and then Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns for the blue belt, the Universal title. And then Sami Zayn takes the bullet for Roman Reigns, pushes Roman Reigns out of the way and tumbles him out of the ring. And then Sami takes the fall for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot on the line this weekend. Obviously, when you talk about the road to WrestleMania, that's still a couple months away. A lot can happen between now and then. But, I mean, there could be some pretty far-reaching implications this weekend. If Kevin Owens were to win the Universal Championship, if Bianca Belair was to lose her title, depending on who wins the Royal Rumble, is both the men's and women's side. I mean, there's there's a lot. There's a lot at stake here. Obviously, it seems like a small card, but obviously, the size of the Rumble, the time that it takes, obviously, it's still a big show. There's a lot going on, a lot of action. Over the past several years, you see like some really interesting things, like Kofi Kingston like hanging onto the outer railing, avoiding being eliminated. Like, is there any like
shenanigans?
Shenanigans, yeah.
Oh, of course. That is actually, I'm glad you said Kofi Kingston because I didn't even think about it. I don't expect him to win it, but it would be great to see Big E return.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was hurt last year too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he broke his neck.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, seeing Big E return would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would even be a big name a big nod to win. I mean, he's been champion before.
Yeah.
And a pretty good champion too. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Big E in like the final four.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this Saturday will be interesting because you never know who's gonna win it.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be we would know the winners ahead of time, due to leaks and things like that. But I think, especially since Triple H has taken over, I guess it's been a lot more under wraps. Like the predetermined outcomes haven't really, obviously we all obviously know that it is scripted. We know that people are set to get pushes and things like that. We know that they probably already know who the winner is going to be, more than likely. I mean, unless Triple H waits until Saturday to tell everybody, who's going to win. But yeah, it's I mean, this could be a huge jumping off point for the next year in WWE. So it'll be definitely, if this is something that you're even like peripherally interested in, this is a great jumping off point to get in on the storylines for the next several months to the year. Former champions returning, new champions being crowned, potential future champions, getting opportunities here. So,
yeah, and you said it best. This is so from this coming Saturday until WrestleMania Sunday, or even WrestleMania Monday. This is the time to watch because this is the best time for creative. I mean, this is where they're making all the money right here, all the gold. So yeah, if you're kind of on the fence about what you want to watch and you see Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown on, I would suggest turning it on not because I'm a fan, but because this is where all the chemistry is happening. Yeah. Like right now is when it gets fun to watch.
Yeah, I was just looking ahead. I saw that the next premium live event, at least non-NXT event, is Elimination Chamber. I kept thinking, didn't we just have Elimination Chamber? Well, we just had War Games. So I was like, okay, wait a second, because it just seemed, because we had the Elimination Chamber style event at War Games. So I mean, yeah, I don't know how big Elimination Chamber is going to be. Maybe, but I mean, obviously, WrestleMania is only 3 months away. So yeah, if you haven't, again, go out Saturday evening. I believe it's at 6:00 Mountain Time. I could be wrong.
Yeah, and Harry, if you want, go buy yourself a ticket because it's in your hometown.
There you go, San Antonio, Texas, at the Alamo Dome. But yeah, I mean, Earl, this has been fun, man. We don't get to do this very often.
Because Jacob's a bah humbug, and I hope he's listening.
I'm sure Jacob will hear this in his podcast feeds tomorrow morning. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to be watching it. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to have my boys watch it too as well. So
I'm going to try to sit down and watch it. I do have plans Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that the significant other allows me to sit down for 3 hours to watch this. I mean, I might just sit down with her and watch it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We know she's on board with the soccer. We know she's on board with the podcast.
She's on board with the wrestling.
Okay.
She's on board with the wrestling. She makes the joke every time we go to the store and there's like wrestling toys. Like, look, this is Earl's section. So she's on board with it. She knows I'm a huge fan.
Okay.
We'll see how much she approves of me being a huge fan this coming Saturday.
Hey, I think I think this is a good way to like build up WrestleMania. But hey, I got to spend the 12 hours over the course of this weekend watching wrestling.
Yeah, if I didn't have plans already, hold on a minute, hold on.
Yeah. All right. So if you're listening to the podcast on the audio feed, Earl has muted his mic and walked away from his screen. He's now returning. Not exactly sure what happened, but he's back.
No, I had to make sure that someone wasn't listening.
Okay.
So if I didn't have plans on Saturday, which I already told you what it is,
Yeah.
if I didn't have those plans, then I would definitely be sitting 12 hours watching wrestling, which I've already started because most nights I am alone. So I have my own TV on where I've been binge watching past episodes of Royal Rumbles.
Well, there you go. That's the way to get into it, man. Royal Rumble, obviously, it's a historic event. It's one that's gone on for decades, and it's one that always had a lot of fanfare, a lot of interest in it. So yeah, it's a really great jumping off point for the year for WWE. A really great point to see, kind of get an idea of where the creative is going. So, Earl, before we get out of here, any final thoughts on Royal Rumble this weekend?
No, just that it's gonna be great. And you come with a mouthful of chips, so it's like dry mouth over here.
Yeah.
So no, it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see if my girlfriend lets me watch it. She doesn't know about it yet, so I might need to drop the mic sometime on her and be like, hey, by the way, got some wrestling to watch.
Yeah. Real quick, I think we just got like a shout out or a like or something from Rio the Roadrunner over on Facebook. So shout out to Rio the Roadrunner and the New Mexico Runners. We'll talk some more about them either later this week or next week on the show. But the Runners did get their extend their season opening winning streak to 3 matches in a row with I think a 13-7 win over Colorado Inferno at the weekend.
It's also the first time in New Mexico Runner history that they've been 3-0, so it's their best start ever. So yeah, shout out to Rio the Roadrunner. Me and you,
there he is in the chat.
Me and you, Rio, still have some words. We still need to sit down and bury the hatchet. And we kind of started on the opening match. I didn't make the last match because family commitments. But one of these days, me and you will have to sit down and have a talk without Casey.
Yeah. So like you said earlier, first time in club history they have started 3-0 on their season. So things are looking really good for the Runners right now. It's things are really looking well for them. Let me double check and see when their next match is.
So while you're doing that, I do believe they play Sunday in Amarillo. Rio, yes. Look, I'm trying to bury the hatchet. You screwed me over the first time. You brought in your boy Casey.
David, hey, there we go, David. There you go,
David.
Ganging up on Earl.
I don't know what to say anymore. I really don't. We got Rio the Roadrunner who wants to challenge me for round 2. We got David who's a Philly fan. I'm a Cowboys, so I don't know if we're talking right now. At this point, I don't know where else to go.
So yeah, Earl, you are correct. The Runners are back in action on Sunday, the 29th, when they do take on the Amarillo Bombers in Amarillo at the Amarillo Civic Center. You can catch that match hopefully on Facebook, 1:00 Mountain Time on Sunday. This is fantastic. I love this.
All I know, David, is I am praying for the end of the world to happen in Philadelphia on Sunday.
Don't worry, David. We are of course cheering for the Eagles on Sunday. So we hope your team does well. Yes, we are.
Okay, I guess those two are. I mean, that one. I don't know what I'm doing on Sunday. I'll be watching football. Of course I will.
Amarillo sitting 4-1 top of the table currently. New Mexico runners sitting right behind them on 9 points. So big first place implication match here early in the season for the runners. So keep an eye out on Facebook for that on Sunday. And guys, as always, NewMexicoRunners.com. They're back in town on February 11th. They got 2 away matches doing now and then. So February 11th, they'll be back at the Rio Rancho Event Center. NewMexicoRunners.com. Get your tickets, find out when they're going to be live and where they're going to be at. We will, of course, be back next week. We're going to try to come back later this week if we can get the time with Jacob and Earl to talk about all the New Mexico United news that has popped up. We do have a preseason schedule that's out now. We have the retirement of Devin Sandoval, and we do have some other things we will talk about as we go along. So, guys, we're inching ever closer to the start of the New Mexico United season. Runner season is well underway. We've got so much going on. We do appreciate you guys being with us every week or every time we are live.
Before you do end it, I do want to give a shout out to Rio for sharing our page.
Yes.
I don't know why I like this guy. I really don't.
Thank you, Rio. We do appreciate that. We appreciate you guys so much. We love having the opportunities to cover both clubs, and we want to keep doing that as we go on. So we're going to work with Andres and the club to get Coach Steve on, maybe a couple of the players throughout the season. We're going to try to reach out and hopefully get Devin Sandoval on the show here pretty soon to talk to him about his decision. So guys, we appreciate you. We're going to try to be back either later this week or next Tuesday to talk about all the latest news and notes. So until next time, Somos Unidos.